Hi there, Mother Jamie here with your homily for this week. This Sunday's gospel reading is very short, but it's got a very big message. But it's one of those that you are going to have to pray and ponder about on your own. I'm just going to get you started, and you have to take it from there because it's pretty complex and deep work. Our gospel reading is from the end of the 10th chapter of Matthew, the 40th through the 42nd verses. Jesus is ending his long set of instructions to his disciples who are being sent out, and he concludes by saying, "Whoever welcomes you welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. Whoever welcomes a prophet in the name of a prophet will receive a prophet's reward, and whoever welcomes a righteous person in the name of a righteous person will receive the reward of the righteous. And whoever gives even a cup of cold water to one of these little ones in the name of a disciple, truly I tell you, none of these will lose their reward." So this is one of those passages that would be easy to just kind of breeze over. It's written in a nice little rhythm, and it might be easy to gloss over some of the deeper significance of this passage and the implications of it. Welcome is a word that we bandy about all the time in church world. Oh, we want to be a welcoming congregation. Oh, we're so welcoming, and so we are, every church consider themselves to be welcoming, and everybody has probably a horror story about visiting a church where they weren't welcomed, and so on and so forth. But welcome is not a word that's used very often in Matthew's gospel. The other place it's used is when Jesus says, if you are not welcome, shake the dust off your sandals and move on. Welcome is not just about surface level friendliness. Oh, we're so friendly, we greet newcomers and hand them a bulletin and say welcome. No. And pro tip here, really everything having to do with Jesus is not surface level. You could pretty much guarantee that Jesus never stops at a surface level understanding or meaning of anything. So anyway, being welcoming is not simply being friendly. There's two things we have to remember about the ancient culture in which Jesus was speaking. First of all, it is a hospitality culture. So being welcoming is not simply being nice and being friendly. Being welcoming means that you are going to host people in your homes. You are going to feed them. You are going to offer them shelter. That is the way it worked in the ancient world. You couldn't, they weren't leaving the light on at the Motel 6. You had to stay in someone's home. Secondly, it's a kinship culture. That means that when you are greeted, you are not seen as an individual. You are seen as the community you represent, the people you come from, your kinship circle. So there really wasn't a concept of, I'm looking at this individual person. So this, whoever welcomes you, prophet welcomes the prophet, whoever welcomes the righteous, that cadence that we hear is a Semitic idiom that refers to that understanding that they have, that when you have this person in front of you, how you treat them is how you are treating the entire community that sent them. It is a communal understanding. And we can't emphasize that enough because it is so different from our point of view. We are preoccupied in our culture, especially, in the United States, with the concept of individual rights and individual freedoms. And so we have a kind of our frame of reference for everything is the individual person. And that is a very radically different concept than anything that is biblical. And it is important that we remember that. We may consider individual freedoms to be of paramount importance in the political realm, in public policy, in how we run our society, but it is not biblical. It doesn't come from Jesus. What we get from Jesus is this way of relating to others that is all about how we are all one interconnected community of relationships. Whoever welcomes you as my disciple welcomes me, Jesus, and welcomes the Father who sent me to send you. We're all connected here. And hospitality, there is no language here of rights. There's no language here of individual freedoms. I'm not saying those aren't good things. I'm just saying that's not what we have in the gospel. And so in the Episcopal Church, in our baptismal covenant, where part of our vows of baptism is to say that we will seek and serve Christ in all persons, loving our neighbor as ourselves. That means that when we encounter someone, we see Christ in them and the Father who sent Christ, who sent them. We don't make a distinction. It also means that we see them for who they are and we honor them for who they are. For in the ancient world, you see the community. When you have that person in front of you, you see the community that sent them, and you honor the intrinsic value of that person and that community, and you offer them the dignity and the respect that goes with that. Likewise, we are to see the person in front of us and their intrinsic value. We are to pay deep attention to who they are, where they come from, the community that they represent. So paradoxically, by being less individualistic, by being more conscious of the communal aspect of what it means to seek and serve others, we increase our ability to honor the perspective of the person right in front of us. That's a paradox, so just pray and ponder about that one. By being less individualistic, by being less oriented to individual rights and more oriented to the seeking and serving Christ and all others, we become better able to honor the differences, to honor who is right in front of us, because we are paying deeper attention, deeper respect to who they are by who they are connected to, where they come from, what is their story, what is their community. So we have to we have to be consciously aware of the fact that what is hardwired into us about the way things should be, like, individual rights and freedoms, is not a biblical concept, but rather our best understanding of the best form of government. We have to just be consciously aware of those distinctions so that we don't inadvertently conflate the two. And we need to be clear that the gospel of Jesus Christ is calling us to deep work, a transformed life. And that takes effort, that takes courage, and sometimes it takes facing some hard truths, or at least facing some assumptions we've always had, and allowing ourselves to grow and perhaps reach a deeper understanding of some things we took for granted. We're always called to grow and to change, and that takes work. And so I hope that this has been helpful, and I encourage you to pray and ponder on this brief passage in the week to come. Bye-bye now.